This is insane. So the implication here being high up people at Twitter were emailing the FBI thanking them for like helping them censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. Damn, that's like crazy. What does the email say? Here's a list of those who we work with. What the f does this have to do with an influence campaign censoring and discrediting the Hunter Biden laptop story? And like, I don't think conservatives or nobody actually reads any of the source stuff in any of these tweets. This is why I kept...
Before my stream started, I got a DM from MrGirl.
Something that I've done really well is I think I understand a lot of different points of view. I'm really good at figuring out why people think the things they do, relating to them on an emotional level, making them feel understood and heard. I think that's something I've done exceedingly well this past year, especially. Something I want to do more though is, I think I've done a little bit too much understanding, and I need to figure out a way to do a little bit more pushing. So like from now on, like I'll do my best to understand, but then I need them to understand my point of view too. That's not something I usually try to do. Usually I step inside somebody else's bubble and I try to make them understand that I understand them. Like, okay, I get your concerns, blah, 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 blah. But now I need to, like, once I'm in there, I need to invite them into my space. Like, hey, like, I need you to understand this side. And that's something I haven't done very much this past year, but that's kind of like my goal. It's kind of goes along with the, it goes along a little bit with the statement I made before about every time I get invited to these like lay epic centrist podcasts, we always talk about how cool it is to have challenging conversations, but we never actually have any challenging conversations. So my goal is to start having more challenging conversations. Also, once I'm done with Factorio, I've gotten a little bit better at this, but I'm going to continue to ramp up. Like, engagement with literature is really important, and we need to be doing that way more. I'm trying to do this on stream now every time I say something, but like, I don't ever want to say anymore. This is something I'm trying to eliminate from my vocabulary. Studies say, or it's been studied and this is the thing. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to say, this study, that was this study by this person published in this journal. That's like my goal. I should be able to do that from things. I think you sound way more authoritative. It means you're familiar with the individual studies. At the very least, you've done like a quick sweep of the methodology and you've read the abstract and conclusion, just so you have like a general rough idea of what the study is about. I think abstract, methodology, depending on what you're talking about, and then conclusion, I think are three good things to have. And then like, what's the journal it's published in, who's the author or authors. Being able to do stuff like that and have those ready to rattle off, I think is really powerful. And it helps me make sure that there's a lot of veracity to my claims as well. Because there's a lot of things sometimes where I say like, oh, studies say. And there's a lot of things that people don't know when it comes to like, I've said this before, a lot of people don't know, a lot of people think there's a lot of research out there, and there's not that much research out there. So like, for instance, when people always say like, oh, like there's all these studies on how hard it is, for instance, for black people to get jobs based on their names. No, that's not true. There's like one study. It was one big study, black employment, names, less likely, call back. I think it was this in like 2003. But this was like, there was one really big study. There was one really big study that showed this, but people will always say, every time people refer to like things, they always just say study show. And generally for a lot of these issues, there's only going to be like one or two big landmark studies, outside of like medicine and stuff, right? That people are going to be talking about. So it's good to know them, to be able to cite them, to be able to know what you're talking about. I think is, you know.
Age bracket, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not taking you seriously. You gotta dump. You gotta stop wasting your time. Bro, you date these old ass predators. The guy's 7.
But when it comes to studies, most people have zero understanding of statistics. You think understanding statistics would help your claims? I think you just have to have better analogies. You got to work on better analogies. Some analogies that I've come up with are like killer analogies. That's like, once you lay it out, it's like, holy fuck, obviously I'm right, and you sound so dumb. And other analogies are a little bit more convoluted, and it doesn't communicate the message as well. I think it's just that's an entirely separate skill of communication, where it's like, okay, I have this relatively complicated like thing, and now I need to find a way to explain like I have to explain this thing. I need to do this year. I need to take a stats class. I have to be able to take I need to take a stats class. I need to take a stats class. I need to have like a better statistical understanding of like what does it mean to like rejecting a null hypothesis, for instance. Like what does it mean when you've got a 95% confidence interval where the null hypothesis is included in that confidence interval, meaning your study hasn't like actually demonstrated, like stuff like this. Like I have like a weak understanding of it, but not very thorough. I just have to do a stats class. I was really good about taking random classes a long time ago. Like I took like a couple econ, like audiobook college courses, like fucking 6, 7 years ago. I did that Stanford one on all the race shit. I need to do a stats class. I need to do a stats. I have to do a stats class. Don't worry, most scientists have a weak understanding of the statistics too. Yeah, but it's good to know them, and you have to be so much smarter than the people that spread conspiracy theories. You have to know so much stuff. The burden of proof is so high, especially with like COVID shit. Oh my God, you have to know so much shit. What's the difference between absolute risk versus like relative risk? Like all these different things. I'm sure, but again, I think like taking like a stats class would help you. Like, yeah. Like, does it matter, for instance, if something is statistically significant? Like, that's like a stats term, and most people don't know what that means, right? Like, statistically significant, there's a math definition. I think statistically significant just means there's a math thing. I don't know what it means. It's like 95% confidence interval with like a difference from your main value or something. But basically like, so like, let's say that you measure 2 groups of people, and you can say that like, oh, there's a statistically significant difference in IQ between group A and group B. When people hear statistically significant, they think, wow, there must be a big difference. But that's not true. It just means that there is a difference with a high confidence interval. So for instance, I think Sapolsky gave this in one of his Stanford lectures. There is a statistically significant increase in IQ from a second child to a first child. Like your second child will have a statistically significant higher IQ because it's like very, very, very high certainty, and then it's like it's well studied. But like the difference is like 1 point, right? So that can be statistically significant, but it's a small change, right? It's like effect size versus like confidence intervals and all this shit, or versus confidence. I think I should say, yeah. Like even I'm like use some of these terms incorrectly. I just have to, I have to take that course. I have to, yeah. Learning about effect sizes and stuff too. It's all basic shit. That helped me navigate a lot of the alternative medicine stuff. Like if you have, so like effect size, I think is the amount of change that like one thing will have on like a variable, right? But if you've got like study after study after study after study after study, let's say that you've got a ton of studies and they show like 0 impact on something, and then you've got a landmark study that comes out and it seems to be a really big study, and it's in contradiction to all of these things. If it's in contradiction to all of these things, but it's got like a very small effect size, that kind of makes sense. Like, okay, sure, these people weren't studying well enough, they missed it. But if something comes out that's in contradiction to a ton of published literature and it's got a huge effect size, then it's like, wait, how the did everybody else miss this? There were a couple of the ivermectin studies that came out where it was like, oh my God, ivermectin had a 100% success rate in curing COVID-19, 100%. And I'm like, with an effect size that big, how did every other study miss it? No shot. That's insane. It's a huge effect size. There's no way that every other study completely missed that, right? Now, if a big study came out and it was like there's like a 2 to 3% like increase in survival or decrease in mortality or decrease in serious hospitalizations, it's like, okay, sure, smaller effect size, maybe other studies missed it, makes more sense, et cetera, like, stuff like that, yeah. But I'm a data analyst, and the average person is so unprepared to interpret data and visuals. Yeah, it's a lot of like inhuman work. You have to like contort your mind to figure out, like, it's just a very inhuman thing. I want to revisit my conversation with counterpoints. I consider counterpoints to be one of the most reasonable, like, conservative people in terms of like, will have like good faith conversations and shit with you. So if I can't convince him that he's completely fucking wrong, then it's like, what the fuck is the chance of me convincing anybody? And I have to revisit. I've got to revisit that. I've got to revisit that conversation with him. I have to figure out how to show him why he's being insane. I don't know. We need to go over all the Twitter files. Once I have my internet thing back, I think we're just gonna read every single tweet. I can't. I want there to be like a video for people to look up for like, oh, what was in the Twitter files? Oh, let's look at this guy talk about them. Where we just read every single tweet. It's like insane, dude. It'll be like an email where somebody is like, hey, FBI has compensated us for all of our work for fulfilling these requests or whatever. That'll be like the email, and it'll be super dry. And it's like, okay, I understand what's going on here. There's probably some government compensation when they're making huge requests on social media companies to pay for like employee time. Makes sense. But then like that'll be the email. But then like the Twitter headline will be like, government pays employees to remove partisan information from Twitter. And it's like, where the did you get that? Where the are you just planning on nobody reading the fucking emails? Well, that's not what that says at all. I might have actually retweeted exactly that email. I might have retweeted exactly that email. Did I? Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. Oh yeah, it was this one. In the end, the FBI's influence campaign aimed at executives at news media, Twitter, and other social media companies worked. They censored and discredited the Hunter Biden laptop story. By December 2020, Baker and his colleagues even sent a note of thanks to the FBI for its work. Right? Holy shit. Okay, this is insane. So the implication here being high up people at Twitter were emailing the FBI thanking them for like helping them censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. Damn, that's like crazy. What does the email say? Thanks, Angela. I'll sign it as well. Would Scale please prepare a draft for Sean and me to look at? Also, we should be mindful that the letters could leak and will be subject to FOIA, so we should prepare them with that expectation in mind. Thanks, Jem. Thank you, Sean. Please let me know if you would like me to draft the letter. If you'd like to draft it, I really appreciate this. Hi, Angela. I'd be happy to. Sean. Sean and Jem. I hope all is well. The election has taken up our lives for most of this year, but certainly the past few months. Twitter is on the front line of protecting our users and the public at large from misinformation/disinformation campaigns that have potential to negatively affect the fair election process. What is not as widely known is the role Twitter played in helping the FBI track and identify violent actors who wanted to perpetrate acts of domestic terrorism at polling stations and ballot counting facilities. Obviously, this work is close hold, and we will never get public credit, but I would like to thank our FBI counterparts who worked so well with us this election cycle. We had an unprecedented national security and law enforcement response that was the result of a tight, well-coordinated partnership with the FBI that was based on trust. Would you both consider sending a letter of thanks for their willingness to partner on matters of election integrity and public safety? You know, all the work that was done related to China, Russia, and Iran, you might not be as familiar with the public safety work. Twitter provided information related to the kidnapping plots of the Michigan and Virginia governors, as well as the QAnon members who drove to ballot counting facilities after making public threats of violence. We had to work in real time with the FBI, and we were able to get them the necessary information that prevented harm. Here is a list of those who we work with. What the fuck does this have to do with an influence campaign censoring and discrediting the Hunter Biden laptop story? And like, I don't think conservatives or nobody actually reads any of the source stuff in any of these tweets. This is why I kept pushing Connor, because I read the whole first Twitter files thread when I was in Georgia, between sleeping and being sick and helping Cherry go and buy pizzas for my campusers, right? And I'm like, where the fuck are these people? Like, where are these people getting this information from? Because the tweet text doesn't agree with the sourced materials, right? Now, if I'm being insanely generous, you could extrapolate really, really, really hard from this and say, well, maybe the national security and law enforcement response in relation to China, Russia, and Iran, with the FBI a few years earlier warning that Russia might try some disinformation, maybe related to Hunter Biden, like maybe in a really roundabout way, that's all like connected. But like, that's not what this email says. And those links are non-existent. I have to like conjecture my way through every single link. And these are the leaks that we're getting from Twitter that are supposed to be the most damning leaks they have. Like, it's unbelievable to me, yeah. Destiny shills hard for Dems and the feds. I just laid out what I believe is rock solid argumentation. I just read you this email for the first time in your life because I know you've never read it before. If you disagree with something, feel free to point out how, but like my argumentation is solid. There are no flaws or holes. This email here, if you were in an English class, there's another thing too. I wish I could see how you guys like had written in class or in school, or when you guys were given when you guys are given like essays or assignments and shit. I'm curious how you justify or do arguments for. Hold on. I'm curious how you guys would do like justification for arguments based on material you're given, because I feel like you guys wouldn't be able to write persuasive essays or argumentative essays given some prompt, or wouldn't be able to write an essay at all. Because again, if you were in a class, if you were in any like school class and you were to like be given an email and you're like, can you summarize the contents of this email? Like for you to get credit on the assignment, the summary would be like, it seems like Twitter worked with they wanted to write a letter thanking the FBI for them working together. And it seems like the two big things that they were concerned with were acts of like domestic terrorism and stuff related to election integrity. That's what it seemed like. The two things that we're talking about in here. But if on your essay you were to write, this was about the Hunter Biden laptop story or censoring stuff to help conservatives. Forgive them, they've waited a week to spam that. I'm IP banning. I would go through and do like 7-day bans. We're undoing. Dan talked to me about this a long time ago. Unironically, I'm massive nuking all of the misspeak things. The problem with the misspeak thing is that if it happens on even a little thing, chat just goes full fucking retard and will spam it for like 30 seconds and it nukes the chat conversation. So I'll just go through and I'd like manually like IP ban for like a month or whatever people do it. But yeah, we're done. We've moved past the misspeak age. That meme is officially retired. So if you do it anymore, you're getting at least a 1-day ban. And then if I have more time or if I'm more angry, I'll go through on a 1,024-hour ban. Same with the GigaChat emote when somebody says something schizo. Yeah, maybe. We'll see about the GigaChat emote. It might be next on the chopping block. This Michael reporter is the climate change denial guy that you spoke with for a bit, right? Oh, is it? Oh, I think it is. Is it? I feel like I recognize the face. Okay, so this guy is just like an actual like fake news, like a liar. Like this guy's just a liar, zero integrity. Interesting. Gotcha. Did you get a new Twitter back yet or the old one? I got I made a new one, but I don't know if yeah, I don't think my old ones are ever getting unbanned. I've had a couple of people I think I had 2 different people that are now, because now I actually have I've got more friends that are closer to higher ups or people on like the trust and safety team, some ex-members of the Twitter, and apparently my account was flagged for ban evading, making new accounts so that I could make violent threats on all of the new accounts that I created, which I'm 99% sure has never happened. I think that there was like, if I had to guess, the person at Twitter that didn't like me is like some hyper SJW, and every time they caught me ban evading a new account, they probably gave it like the violent threat ban or something, like the most extreme ban. That would be like that'd be my guess. But I have no idea. I wish I could see like the tweets. That would be like show me the tweets. Because like the only threats I ever made on Twitter, if I made any, would have been like on the Stephen Bunnell account towards like Cox, like fucking 7 years ago. But on every single new ban evaded account, it's always only gotten banned for ban evasion. I've never gotten banned ever on any of my new accounts for anything besides ban evasion. So yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of dumb. Are you able to get cable internet in the meantime while they work on the fiber? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. The wasn't your original ban a threat? So are they just saying with the original ban? Well, my original ban was the bomb threat to Cox, which was fair. But I made that second account, Omni Destiny. That was an okayed account. That was like an officially okayed Twitter account. Like I made Omni Destiny, and then they banned that one for ban evasion. And then I filed an appeal, and I said like, oh, hey, I understand that I did this, or blah, blah, blah. And maybe Twitter was a smaller company back then, not that small. And I was like, oh, but can I make a new Twitter account? And then they unbanned the Omni Destiny one, and that one operated like in the official like okayness of Twitter. That account was verified back when verification was like a real thing that meant something. The Omni Destiny account was a verified okay to operate account. I made a Mastodon account, but I don't know if the most important thing for a social media account is it's nice to have a place to tweet out like, hey, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, because it's hard for people to keep track of like when I'm doing shows or when I'm doing other things. It's nice to have an account to tweet stuff like that out. But I don't know if anybody uses like fucking Mastodon or anything, so I'm not sure. Was it the cross-burning tweet the first time? No, I've never gotten banned for the cross-burning tweet. Everybody seems to think that, but that just didn't happen. Like that Omni Destiny account got banned like a year or two after I think that cross-burning tweet happened. Like that wasn't the tweet that got the account banned. Do you think websites like Twitter shouldn't be able to permaban you without telling you exactly what tweets, posts got you banned because websites have the ability to nuke someone's online presence without knowing? Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's like a whole thing that goes into that. Can you post that stuff on Reddit? Maybe. It'd be kind of spammy. I don't know. Do you care to comment on Shaylin's insane but fire drawing? Yeah, Shaylin she's just like a victim. Like I said, it's hard to like be honestly mad at her because I understand that she's like super like manipulative. I don't even know if she like exists as a human being anymore. If you're ever curious, going back and listening to, I went like on a binge one night because I couldn't believe it. Going back and listening to older podcasts where Shaylin was like a guest is unreal. Like the difference in energy, inflex. What is the word I'm looking for? When you whatever your voice. Inflect, yeah, the inflection in her voice. Like she was like 70 million times more live like half a decade ago, like doing interviews and shit. It's so crazy listening to the difference. Whereas now, like when I compare that to her inflection, yeah, when I compare that to her like appearance on like Chud's stream, and she's like a literal fucking zombie, I was like, oh my god, that's fucking wild to me. Holy shit. I also didn't realize, I don't want to get too hung up on the MrGirl shit, but I didn't realize, it's so funny that he talks about power dynamics. I didn't realize that Shaylin was in such an insane relationship with MrGirl. So if you think about it, MrGirl 1 uses her for content on his stream, right? He takes videos of themselves and he uses that as like part of his income. And 2, he commissions work from her as well. So they like live together. He uses her for his stream and he's like her boss because he pays her for and commissions work from her for his stream shit. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's like really fucking, there's like a lot of power dynamics there, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. What about the Nadia doxing shit? Hassan and XQC debated for like an hour. There is one reason and one reason alone why Nadia, whatever the fuck, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is she Asian? I hope I'm racist because I don't know how to pronounce her name. Maybe people can make more videos on me. There's one reason and one reason alone why you shouldn't dox people that send you donos, and that's because they could be using a fake name. That's the only reason you shouldn't. Other than that, fuck them. If you're gonna harass somebody online, you should be able to publish their social security number. Fuck you, okay? Fuck them. Yeah, fuck them. But the problem is that somebody could be using a fake name, and now you might dox like the wrong person. That's always like the issue.
Before my stream started, I got a DM from MrGirl. For those of you who do not know who MrGirl is a content creator, a musician, and you could say controversial personality. And he DM'd me something along the lines of like, they're now coming for you. And I'm like, what? What do you mean they're now coming for you? And I was confused because I hadn't gotten any like hateful DMs or anything.
Nice, based. I actually like my blue hair a lot. I might keep it forever now. I'm so sorry. I have never gotten, this must feel like what pretty women or maybe pretty men feel like. I have never gotten so much attention from women in my entire life. It's actually insane. It is so easy because every girl will like look at my hair and they see it. And like a lot of them will stop and say like, oh my God, like such a nice hair. I've never had like a girl compliment me before randomly in public. Probably never in my entire life. I don't think I've ever in my entire life had a girl stop me like, wow, you're so handsome, or you're so like, maybe like my mom. But I've had like probably over 15 people in the past like 2 weeks, women, half of them older, like 40s or 50s or whatever, like just being polite. And then like the other half, like probably like, yeah, like late 20s, 30s, are like, oh, nice hair, whatever. Especially if I'm like in an elevator with a woman, it's like an instant conversation starter. Like it's insane. Jesus Christ, yeah. Are they joking? No, I mean, it does look nice. Or I think, well, it's a little fucked right now because I didn't use my blue conditioner, but I think the color is pretty nice. It's starting to green a little bit, but it's because I didn't use the blue conditioner today. I'll probably re-dye professionally next time instead of like doing the self-dye. Although the guy did a good job on it, so. But yeah, I don't know. But I think my issue before with like doing hair dye is I don't like the way my hair feels, which sucks. Well, it doesn't feel as bad anymore, and I've conditioned it a fuck ton. The thing that I always worried about is that I don't like, when I see dyed hair, I associate it usually with two things. One is with not very vibrant colors. Like this blue is like, especially on the top cell, is like a really cool color blue. So I like that. And then two, a lot of product. I don't like product. But that just might be because I'm a fucking loser or conservative upbringing or whatever. I don't like a lot of product in hair, like the spiky shit. If I feel like if I touch your hair, if it's gonna feel crusty, it is one of the biggest turnoffs. I think it's like one of the big things that keeps you from being like really bisexual is like fucking men's hair. Because like traditionally nice looking guys always have product in their hair. And I don't know, when it comes to like women, like one of the funnest things is like, I wanna like touch your hair and like run my fingers through like your scalp. Like that's like a fun, intimate thing to do. And I would never touch a guy's hair ever. It's like the most disgusting fucking thing in the world. We had to touch a guy's hair and feel like the fucking polyurethane force field of nasty fucking gel and what I could never do it. It's fucking gross. It is like one of the most disgusting. It's like shit. It's actually shit. Like if I went to like finger a girl and she turned around and there was shit smeared on her asshole and I could smell it wafting up, like she fucking smeared. That's what product in men's hair is for me. That's how fucking gross it is. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that's the reason why I traditionally didn't like dyed hair, is because I've always seen it that way. Raptor Balls, thanks for the $49.99 again, my friend. Sorry, Jesus, that was a lot. The only thing I don't like about my hair is when I'm driving, because I'm pretty sure people see me get out of my car and they assume that I dyed my hair to match my car, which makes me look hella fucking stupid. What the fuck is the difference between women product and men's hair products? Women's hair products tend to like make their hair feel like silky and smooth and nice, usually, whereas men's hair products are things meant to like make it spiky or stick up. I'm sure, I'm generalizing a lot. I'm sure there are probably some men that don't do that, and I'm sure there are probably some women that do, but I've never felt like a woman, actually, no, that is true. I felt women's hair with like dreadlocks before and shit. That feels gross. Oof, not a big fan of dreadlocks. But yeah. Yeah, but hairspray and stuff is like, ugh. I just don't want to feel like crusty hair. Ugh. 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 Remember you saying you didn't like compliments on your appearance much? Was that more related to generic stuff like saying you're handsome or by features you don't? I don't like compliments from people that love me because they, of course, they're gonna compliment. Those comments don't mean anything to me, right? Like if my mom says that I'm handsome, you're my fucking mom. Of course you think I'm handsome. I don't care, right? Or if Melina says you look nice, like of course you're my fucking wife. Of course you think I look nice. If a stranger says it though, they probably really mean it. It's like, oh damn, cool.